Hello and welcome to What the F Just Happened Today, your essential guide to the daily shock and awe in national politics. I'm Joe Amditas. Let's get to it. It's Monday, August 22nd, 2022. Welcome to day 580. Dr. Anthony Fauci will leave the federal government in December to pursue the next chapter of his career. The nation's top infectious disease expert has advised 7 presidents in more than 5 decades of public service. Moving on, Texas, Tennessee, and Idaho will enact abortion trigger laws this week. Starting August 25th, nearly all abortions in Tennessee will be outlawed, except in cases related to preventing the death or serious injury of a pregnant person. The law makes no exceptions for rape or incest. Idaho will also impose a near-total abortion ban, but with exceptions for rape, incest, or medical emergency. In Texas, doctors can now be sued by almost anyone for performing an abortion and face life in prison and fines of more than $100,000. In Louisiana, state officials denied funding for a New Orleans flood control project because of the city's opposition to the state's near-total abortion ban. It's the second time that the Louisiana State Bond Commission voted to delay the approval of the $39 million infrastructure project, which would power the drainage pumps that protect the city's 384,000 residents from flooding. The New Orleans City Council passed a resolution this summer asking police, sheriff's deputies, and prosecutors not to enforce the ban, which doesn't include exemptions for rape or incest. Moving on, a federal appeals court temporarily paused an order requiring Lindsey Graham to testify before a Georgia grand jury that's investigating efforts to overturn the 2020 election. The U.S. Court of Appeals for the 11th Circuit asked a lower court to consider whether it would be appropriate for a U.S. sitting senator to testify before the grand jury. Graham formally appealed a judge's order last week that he testify, saying that doing so would cause irreparable harm that would be, quote, in contravention of his constitutional immunity, end quote. Meanwhile, the federal magistrate judge who authorized the warrant to search Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate suggested that the redacted version of the affidavit could make for a meaningless disclosure. U.S. Magistrate Judge Bruce Reinhardt said the FBI's affidavit justifying the warrant was reliable, citing the intense public and historical interest in an unprecedented search of a former president's residence justifies making an effort to unseal portions of it. Reinhardt, however, said he agrees with the DOJ that the redactions will be so extensive that they will result in a meaningless disclosure. Reinhardt ordered Justice Department officials to submit proposed redactions by Thursday at noon Eastern Time. Trump, meanwhile, filed a lawsuit asking a federal judge to appoint a third-party attorney known as a special master to review the documents that were seized from Mar-a-Lago. At the same time, the Congressional Intelligence Oversight Committees asked the Biden administration for the documents that were seized from the search of Mar-a-Lago. The inquiry from the so-called Gang of Eight follows a similar request from the Senate Intelligence Committee for an assessment of possible national security risks related to Trump's handling of the sensitive documents. The Gang of Eight includes the top 2 congressional leaders in each chamber, as well as the top Democrat and Republican on the House and Senate Intelligence Committees. White House officials, meanwhile, have privately expressed concerns over the classified material that Trump took with him to Florida. And finally, a federal appeals court ordered the release of then-Attorney General William Barr's secret 2019 Justice Department memo discussing whether Trump obstructed Robert Mueller's investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 election. The D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals said the DOJ failed to show that the memo from the department's Office of Legal Counsel was part of a deliberative process advising Barr about the issue, finding that Barr never seriously considered charging Trump with obstructing the Mueller investigation. Barr told Congress in March 2019 that after consulting with top DOJ officials, he concluded that there wasn't enough evidence to charge Trump with obstruction. After Mueller's full report was released, however, his office said there was substantial evidence of obstruction. Mueller also wrote a letter to Barr saying the Attorney General had mischaracterized his team's work. And in the polls, NBC News says 57% of voters say the various investigations into alleged wrongdoing by Trump should continue, while 40% say they should stop. 58% said America's best years are behind it, and 61% say they're willing to carry a protest sign for a day because they're so upset. And Gallup says 5.6% of Americans describe their current life situation as suffering in July. the highest level on record, which translates to an estimated 14 million American adults.
That's all for now. You can find the links and sources for all of these stories on the main website. And as always, visit whatthefuckjusthappenedtoday.com for the latest news and headlines. Until next time, I'm Joe Amditas.